During the planning process, there are 4 key principles that you will see in play: vision, trust, decision-making, and relationships.
It starts with a wine profile where the team will come together and they will decide on the characteristics of the wine, and they collectively make that decision.
As we make decisions on the ingredients, we make these decisions based on the vision in the planning process, as well as the relationships we want to establish between the grapes.
You know, tannins or, fruit forward, things like that is the initial creation of the vision for your wine, and which will help with the recipe while you're making the wine throughout the whole winemaking process.
During the picking process, we will see establishing strength, the process of focus, and strong decision making.
We will dump your grapes up in here. This machine right here actually vibrates, and it will vibrate the grapes out onto this conveyor belt. So you and your team members will stand along this conveyor right here, and you'll pick out the MOG, which is matter other than grapes. Sometimes that's a leaf, and you might even see a little bug, but the grapes come along here and you'll be just amazed at how beautiful the clusters are. It's Cabernet from Sonoma, what can I say? Anyway, the grapes come along here, and they will fall down in here. The stuff that you've picked out on the side will go off into garbage cans. This is what's called an elevator, and this will take the grapes up into the crusher destemmer, which is this machine down here. And what it does is it gently knocks the berries off the stem so that when they fall through, they're nice and clean, and they're just fresh berries, and a great start for your new wine.
The fermentation process, we will begin to feel the patience, the motivation, and the completion of vision.
So after your grapes have passed through the crusher destemmer, they will fall back into this half-ton bin. It's at this point that we add the yeast. It's called inoculation, and the yeast will start the fermentation process, which lasts about 10 to 12 days. And during that time, the yeast will convert the sugar in the grapes to alcohol. So that's how we know when it's time to go to press, when the sugars are 0. And from there, we'll put your wine in the press.
The press process will really begin to taste our patience as we see the change in the grapes.
This is called a pneumatic bladder press, and what happens is there's a bladder in here that inflates and deflates with air. So when your grapes are done fermenting, we take that solution and we put it into the press, close this door up, and this cylinder rotates. So the bladder will inflate and deflate and will press the grapes against the holes in here, and the juice will run out. And the cylinder meanwhile rotates. The juice will fall down in here, and this will be the first opportunity you get to taste your wine. Now, it's not going to be very good wine, but it'll be very young, but you will get to taste it right out of the press. It's a great opportunity to set a benchmark for how well your wine's going to start tasting over the next coming months.
As we go into the barreling process, there are 2 key principles we will see. Once again, we must trust that the barrel will contribute positively to our goal, as well as have the patience to make it through the next 3 to 6 months of this process.
We currently age our red wines in oak barrels, and we have a combination of, we have French oak barrels, we have American oak barrels, we have new and old, and this will be part of your decision-making process. We'll sit down with you beforehand, and we'll discuss the different flavors that these different oak barrels will impart, and you'll be able to choose what type of barrel you want your wine oaked in.
As we go through the tasting process, each taste gives us that additional bit of motivation that it will take for us to make it to the end, as well as test our decision-making skills.
These barrels are used for topping, and what that means is whenever you come in to taste wine out of your barrel, you don't want oxygen sitting inside your barrel, so we'll dispense wine out of these barrels and top off your barrel so that your barrel is always full. Oxygen is both an enemy and a best friend to red wine. You know what happens when you leave a bottle open uncorked? It turns to vinegar, right? So that's why we top off the barrels.
The final step of bottling allows us to fulfill our vision, as well as adding our final step of seeing the relationships that have come together, not only in the team, but in the wine that we've made.